system of jurisprudence was all about dharma and adharma. So dharma is an important term in Indian religions. In Hinduism, it particularly means duty, virtue, morality. Even religion, and it's referred to power which upholds the universe and society. We will find the peoples in today's day, in today's era, who are highly confused between etymology of dharma and religion. You will find often people's misunderstanding between dharma and religion, misunderstanding, misquoting, misrepresenting, and lot more. So Hindus generally believe that dharma was revealed in Vedas, although more common word there is universal law or righteousness. So dharma was the basic source, the fundamental source of dharma were Vedas. Vedas were also called and even are called today's day as aparusheya. What does I mean when I say aparusheya? Vedas are aparusheya. So Vedas are called aparusheya because it is not in capability and ability of normal peoples to understand, to write, to represent the Vedas and philosophy imbibed in this. The particular term Rita, this term has been used widely in Vedas, and this term Rita represents the righteous behavior. So the term Rita is equivalent to righteous behavior in Vedas. But acting virtuously does not precisely the same for everyone. Peoples have different obligations, different duties to fulfill as per the age, gender, and their social position. We can also say that dharma changes in accordance of desh, kal, and paristhiti. Desh, country; geographical entity; kal, time; paristhiti is equivalent to situation. So dharma changes and varies in respect of this. Dharma is a universal, but it also particular and operate within concrete circumstance. Every person has his own dharma, his own duty, his own obligation to fulfill. I think that definitely we would have delved into the question that why it is that the tree of banyan, bargat tree, is considered, peepal tree is considered supreme in trees. The bargat tree and peepal trees are considered supreme in trees because the character, nature, duty, and virtue of a good tree is to give a shade. So the trees which give more shade, the trees which are fulfilling their duty and which are exponential in their obligation are considered finest. There is a concept of Swadharma. Swadharma is self-duty. Every person has a Swadharma. Now we need to look into the aspect of Swadharma. So the question, the warrior, Arjuna was the warrior at the time of Mahabharata. Arjuna asked a question when he was in the battlefield. He was actually puzzled. He was in situation of farrago, that what should he actually do? He asked Krishna about why he should fight in the battle. Surely, he asked, killing one's own relative and teachers is wrong. So he refuses to fight. Arjuna refuses to fight. So the Arjuna says in Mahabharata, Gandiva shansate hastachaiva paridrahyati nacha shaknum vyavasthanum bhratmi me manah. The meaning of this is same as it has been written above. Krishna assures him to fulfill his own duty. Arjuna was a warrior. Arjuna was a warrior in the battle. And it was his duty to engage and indulge in that war. A duty of a warrior is to indulge and win the war for greater cause. We can imagine and equate in present situation and circumstance that if Indian army refuses to fight, if commander-in-chief of Indian army says that no, we should not delve into this fight because all are humans. So what will be the situation? We can directly interrelate that situation with the present time. The situation is little bit changed, but the jurisprudential aspect, the evolution of law, we can connect. Krishna assures Arjuna, Krishna assures him that this particular battle is righteous and he must fight as his duty or dharma as a warrior. Arjuna's Swadharma was to fight in the battle because he was a warrior, but he must fight with a detachment from the results of his action and within the rules of warrior dharma. Krishna was asking Arjuna to fulfill his own dharma, that is a dharma of a yodha, dharma of a warrior. Indeed, not to act according to one's own dharma is wrong and adharma. Krishna taught Arjuna the philosophy of Swadharma Nidhanam. What the Swadharma Nidhanam means is that you are obligated and obliged to fulfill your own duty. You need not to look into the aspects that are not suitable for you. Not fighting the war, being away from the war could be a good virtue for a saint, for a priest, for a business person. But the warrior cannot be expected to not indulge in the war. And if he does so, it would be adharma. Look into present situation. Imagine if army says that I will not fight the war. Will it be correct? Or it will be illegal and offense? The situation was same. Krishna was explaining Arjuna that if you are not fighting the war in this situation, you are not fulfilling your own swadharma, and you are not nidhanam, that your swadharma, it would be wrong and would be considered adharma. Dharma is basically righteous karma. We can take it as Swadharma has a very wide connotation. Dharma of father would be different towards his son. Dharma of father would be to take cater the requirement of his son. Dharma of child is to respect his father. Dharma of student is to learn the lessons that are being taught in their college. Dharma of teacher or professor is to teach students in very well manner. We can take this sense from a Rigvedic stotra, Ekam Sad Vipra Bahudavadanti. This is the stotra, this is the hymn in Rigveda. This says that truth is one, but wise perceive it differently. Dharma is something that is one, that is a righteous karma, that is a righteous behavior. But righteous behavior for every person could be different in every situation. Karma has a high reverence in Sanatan. Importance of karma, righteous karma, particularly the relevance of karma could be understood by Sanskrit hymn. Sanskrit hymn says, Udyamam sahasam dhairyam buddhi sakti parakrama sharete yatra vartante tatra devo shahakrita. Udyam is particularly endeavor, effort, action, patience, mindfulness, power, valor. The place where these six things are amalgamated, even gods are compelled to help that person. Our particular emphasis is on udyamam, effort. That correct effort is karma, and the result is something that is not in your hand. I often feel that our Western legal philosophers has somewhat done very much injustice. Our Western philosophers have not cherished the virtues in Indians' sense of philosophy. I would like to quote from the book of P.N. Sen. He is a great jurist. He has a book written, General Principles of Hindu Jurisprudence. P.N. Sen in his book, Hindu Jurisprudence, on particularly page number 374, General Principles of Hindu Philosophy, he has quoted Sir Francis MacNagatan. Sir Francis wrote that merit of having been the founder of their own jurisprudence cannot be denied to the ancient Indian jurists. There are some good people who are unbiased, who do not have prejudice towards any particular society. And that little few people try to dig out the jewel, and they are the real treasure of this world. The photo is of our senior Supreme Court Judge Rajiv Dhawan. You all might have found Rajiv Dhawan very oftenly criticizing Indian sense of legal methodology and a lot more. But the father of Rajiv Dhawan was Justice S.S. Dhawan. When he was judge at High Court of Allahabad, he says, and I quote, "It is true that legal system in ancient India was much better and mature, that impartial English historians admitted its superiority." Unquote. These are the words of High Court Justice S.S. Dhawan. In front of us, we have principal economic advisor of Prime Minister, Vivek Debroy. The classic interpretation of Mahabharata has been done 3 times in accordance of Oriental Studies product, which they have came out with a new Mahabharata by doing classical study, comparative and analytical as well of the all Mahabharats that were and that are being circulated in India. So our principal economic advisor of PM, Dr. Vivek Debroy, speaks about the richness of Indian heritage and Indian philosophy could just be understood by knowing the mere fact about the manuscripts. In front of you, you would be seeing a picture in middle. That is the copy of a manuscript. That is how a manuscript look like. About 95% of estimated 40 million. This is estimation. This is estimation that Indians were having and is in India present 40 million ancient manuscripts. And what is surprising, shocking, and something that aghast me is that 90% of these manuscripts are not yet translated. Some might be thinking that why? Because in India, we do not have people who could understand the Sharda script. These manuscripts were written in Sanskrit, but even the particular language Sanskrit has multiple scripts, and Sharda script is rarely known by the peoples.
Pranjal, you need to complete by 2, okay?
Was this video audible, ma'am?
No, the video is not audible.
Okay, I'm moving ahead. Moving ahead.
Yes, sound is coming, but you need to complete by 2. Okay, it's already 1:50.
So ancient source of law, we need to look at. We were having some ancient sources of law which were having authority on law. We had Vedas and Upanishad. The particular term Ved means to know or to obtain. Thus, Vedas means knowledge or wisdom. The Vedas are the most ancient source of law. Upanishads are basically the byproduct of investigation of Vedas. It is outcome of intellectual exercise and understanding of Vedic texts. We had Nyaya Shastra. Nyaya Shastra literally means the Shastra of justice, rules, method, or judgment. The Nyaya Shastra is a Hindu text notable for focusing on knowledge and logic and making no mention of Vedic rituals in Nyaya Shastra is being done. Another is Mimamsa Darshan. We will find the philosophers who would disagree by considering Mimamsa as a darshan. I had been in close contact and I regularly follow the eminent professors of JNU, in particular quoting Professor Bharat Gupta, teaching in Sanskrit department he was, Professor Kapil Kapoor of Jawaharlal Nehru University. They are the authority in these particular subjects, Nyaya Shastra and Mimamsa Darshan. In Sanskrit word, Mimamsa means reflection, critical investigation, and thus refers to the tradition of contemplation, which reflected on the meaning of certain Vedic texts. Another, as we all know, is Manu Smriti. Everyone is definitely aware of this text. Not aware of, just heard or little bit listen. We will find people who are misquoting the Manu Smriti as well. I will come into that question, why it is so. Manu Smriti is the law which has been given by Manu. Manu was considered the first civilized man. That is why he is regarded as Vaivashvat Manu. Traditionally, the most authoritative book of Hindu code was Dharma Shastra in India. Manu Smriti is the popular name of book, which is also known as Manava Dharma Shastra, attributed to first lawgiver. Another authoritative text is Yagyavalkya Smriti. It is one of the many Dharma-related texts in Hinduism, basically composed in Sanskrit. It dates back between 3rd to 5th century and belongs to Dharma Shastra tradition. Our Hindu code bill was largely based on Yagyavalkya Smriti. So we like it, and Narad Smriti is also there, which is also composed in sloka style. And Narad Smriti is also part of Dharma Shastra. It is substantive law focusing on procedural aspects as well. Dharma Shastra texts do not cover areas such as righteous conduct and finance. Now I said that there are people who misquote Manusmriti, who misread Vedas and Vedangs. Why I say? The people do not understand that what the authority and what is the appropriateness of these texts. For understanding the reading of either Vedas or Manusmriti, what is prerequisite condition is good knowledge of Nirukta. What this Nirukta is? Nirukta refers to the study of meaning of words and represent one of 6 Vedangs. And after reading Nirukta, after having understanding of Nirukta, we need to read, or one needs to read 6 Vedangs, including Nirukta, excluding Nirukta, 5 Vedas: Shiksha, Vyakaran, Chand, Kalp, Jyotisha. Before delving into the question that what has been written either in Manusmriti or in Vedas and misrepresenting them, the good knowledge of these texts are extremely necessary. Otherwise, as very famous academicians has been there who have wrongly interpreted Vedas, one might fall the prey of lack of knowledge. There is Shruti, the ancient source of law. I will be taking it in hurry because the time is very less. Shruti is basically that what is heard. Manusmriti says, Shrutishu Vedo Vikya. Know the Vedas. Vedas are Shruti. Manusmriti tells this. All the 4 Vedas that we have, Rig Veda, Sam Veda, Atharva Veda, Yajur Veda, these falls under the umbrella of Shruti. Other than Shruti, there is a Smriti. Smriti is what has been remembered. Literally means what has been remembered. These are traditionally written down in contrast to Shrutis. These are floating verbally across generations and generations. So, Shruti, Smriti, digest and commentaries. Digest and commentaries are result of intellectual exercise which are being done on Vedas and various religious texts. Particular example from ancient India of digest and commentaries is Medhatithi. Maharshi Medhatithi has written down Manu Bhashya. And Govind Raja, the famous academician of ancient India, has written Manuka. So Manu Bhashya and Manuka are the commentaries on Manusmriti, whereas on Yagyavalkya Smriti, Maharshi Vigneshwara has written down famous commentary Mitakshara that we generally read in our curriculum, the part of that, and Arpaka has written down Apraditya. These are famous commentaries. Another is Custom. One of the most important source of lawmaking, and custom is also considered and recognized in our international legal system. There were 3 kinds of custom: local custom, class custom, and family custom. All were relevant. On aspect of Dharma, Manusmriti says, Dharma is that which is followed by those learned in the Vedas and what is approved by conscience of virtuous men who are free from hatred and inordinate affection. Currently, we can perceive it in modern form of jurisprudence as the writings of academicians. We can directly interlink both. That how our modern system of jurisprudence is nothing but an evolved form of ancient jurisprudence. In Manusmriti, it is written, Vedah Smriti Sadachara Shvashya Cha Priyatmana Etat Chaturvedi Dharmasya Lakshanam. Manu has described 4 indices of Dharma. Shruti, that is of Vedas, means Shruti of Vedas, Smriti, and Sadachara, good conduct. In our constitution, there is a particular term that our laws, our customs should not be against the moral and societal conduct. We can link it from here. That which is pleasing to one's own consciousness. What is pleasing, what is comforting one's consciousness and satisfying the virtues. In other words, to constitute dharma, we can say noble motive and action both are necessary. There is a very classic difference between dharma is and how our current system of interpretation of law prevails. In ancient society, now I am trying to interlink the contrast which is from what was and what is. We can say dharma was most revered in ancient India. And in our modern form of law, it is righteousness. That is manifestation of dharma. Righteousness is one of the aspect of dharma. It is manifestation of dharma. Righteousness is not in itself a dharma. In classical text of Mahabharata, Srimad Bhagavad Gita portion, Upadesh given by Lord Krishna says, यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानं तदर्मस्य तदात्मानं श्रयाम्यहम् पवित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. We can understand that how important was the dharma at that time, and now our righteous behavior is the manifestation. Lord Krishna goes to the extent of saying that whenever there is a decay in righteous behavior, oh Bharata, Bharata is the people living that time in Bharat. Bharata means the son, the descendants of Maharaja Bharata. Oh Bharata, and there is an exaltation of unrighteous behavior. Then I myself come forward for the protection of good, for the destruction of evildoers, for the sake of firmly stabilizing righteousness. I am born from age to age. He says that he will come again. By this, I am not trying to manifest that Lord Krishna is going to come or not. I am what I am trying to replicate and represent is that how important dharma was that time. And now we are dealing in one of the aspect of dharma, that is righteous behavior and conduct. We cannot definitely, Islam is not a very old religion. It is not a traditional religion. It is a religion which has evolved around 500 AD. So we need to also look how Islam has contributed in Islamic form of Islamic sense of jurisprudence. Islamic law is made of various sources. Quran is the most revered and holy text. I am fortunate enough, fortunate or not, that is a question that should be left on me. But I am the person who have read Quran. So I understand the spirit of that particular text, that what that particular text represents, replicates, indicates, and even intents. After Quran, there is a Sunnah. Sunnah is the conduct of last Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad himself said that I am the last prophet and no other person is going to come as a prophet after me. He was the person who himself said that. Sunnah, after Sunnah, there is a Ijma and Qiyas. Ijma is basically the result of intellectual exercise of Islamic scholars, and after that it is Qiyas. Sunnah and Quran are considered as a primary source. Ijma and Qiyas are considered as a secondary source. Quran has authority over all sources. Considering the Christian jurisprudential aspect, Christianity is older than Islam, but it is younger than Hinduism. So we need also to look at Christianity aspect. In Christianity, the Holy Bible has the authority. I am not sinful or ungrateful to say that still I have not gone through Holy Bible. But what I gather from reading from various sources is that Holy Bible is the book that was written over a period of 1,000 years. It took around 1,000 years to compile all the work in one form and to put it as a Bible. And it is a Bible text in real sense for Christians. Bible contains letter, history, poetry, genres. The Bible can be divided into two sections. The first section is considered as the Old Testament. The second chapter, second part of the Bible is considered as a New Testament. New Testament contains the life of a Jesus and life of early Christians. This could be equivalent and could be made parallel to what is Sunnah in Islam. So some Christians considered every word of Bible as a Biblic text correct, whereas some considers the literature as the major ground for moral foundation. The four major sources of Christian law are scriptures, that is Bible, tradition, reason, and experience. I am highly grateful for listening with such a patience and decency and maintaining the dignity. I am fortunate enough to get the opportunity from respected man to dwell on this particular issue. I am really grateful. Thank you. Thanks a lot.